So today I'm going to go over what the Jews believe about the Moshiach, or as the Western civilization says, Messiah, and some of what the Christians believe, and the Christians are really all over the place about that. But first I'm going to start with this comment. At salvation for the Jews. You're not very Jewish, are you? Satan was the word for adversary or accuser. Satan, you'll see in Old Testament Job and in the Jewish Tanakh, serves, as he says, God. He never was an equal or opposing figure. It's a Christian idea that Satan is a deity. Keep learning. You don't know half of what you think you know, but I love that you're on your way. I'm not very Jewish, or am I? Well, let's see. Back in the 1500s, those who invoked the name God, like you did, hanged, burned alive, and drowned my forebears, calling them Jews. As I pointed out here in this my comment, I'm not very Jewish. You say, well, Satan, the Christian church. That's right, the accuser of the brethren, Satan, the Christian church. Accused my forebears of being Jews and attempted to genocide them as Jews in the 1500s. That's all the evidence I need. And this God you speak of is the national idol of the Anglo-Saxons, the Alamans, the Geats, and the Viking tribes, all of Japheth. Not to mention the Latins call him by their own Greek Deus, which comes from the word Zeus, which Yehoshua called Satan. But anyway, he is the adversary of Jehovah Elohim, that is God, and Deus, Zeus. They are the adversary of Jehovah Elohim of Israel. This is the reason you Christians, if you invoke God, you're a Christian, hate the Jews and Shem Jehovah, as you did call him evil in a previous post. Yes, this guy did. Yes. And he said, yes, throw the whole Bible away. It's fiction. It's not even honest. It's not historically accurate. Further, if it were real, that would make Jehovah evil. This is what he said. And I have been pointing out in my videos how King James Version distorted, twisted the scriptures, as Cephas warned that they would. And he said they would do so to their own destruction. And the problem is with this fellow, I'll continue. You did call him evil in a previous post, making public your own deductions of someone else's knowledge or lack thereof from behind the keyboard, if you have never met him in person, is one of the most ignorant things a man can do. I believe you can do better than that. Of course you can do better than that. You are upset because someone actually did the work, uncovered the lies, and pointed out the truth. Don't get mad at me for doing that. Get mad at yourself. It is you who were allowed yourself to be deceived by these liars who pretended to translate the Bible. Now, somebody asked the question, explain the passage where it says, many will come in my name saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. As if Yehoshua said, forbidden, I am Christ. No, he didn't do that. Even different translations, sketchy translations, figured this one out. So if we look at King James Version, it says, and many shall come in my name saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. But look what the New Living Translation said. For many will come in my name claiming I am the Messiah or Moshiach, and shall deceive many. Well, since Yehoshua is a Jew, he was talking to Jews, Israelites, of the Jewish religion, Judaism. Who then was he speaking about? Look, this information is right there, for, ready for you to search for if you are willing to search for it. I searched for it. I found it. It's very easy. List of Jewish Messiah claimants. So, the figure of the Jewish Messiah was one who would deliver the Jews from oppression and usher in Olam Haba, the world to come. Okay? So, the Jews, most of them believe in a Messianic age. Some of them have just abandoned it altogether because they completely lost hope. And when I say some of them, I mean the Reform, and there's another group. They just completely abandoned the notion, the idea, the truth about the Moshiach all together. So here is a nice long list for you, okay? And not Jesus of Nazareth. Nazareth is Yehoshua. Okay. Then there, in the 2nd century, Simon Bar Kokhba. He led a revolt against the Roman Empire in 135 CE. He was hailed as Messiah King, or Moshiach King, by Rabbi Akiva, who referred to him using Numbers, was it Numbers 24, verse 17. Now, I have quoted Numbers 24 and verse 17, and I am telling you that this war that's taking place in Israel right now, and by the way, it looks like the war between Israel and southern Lebanon is now beginning. I would urge you to pay attention to that, because in Yoel 3 it speaks of the war between the Jews of Jerusalem and Gaza, and also a war between the Jews of Jerusalem and Tyre and Zidon, which is southern Lebanon. There shall come forth a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and smite the corners of Moab. Now Moab today, Moab and Ammon today are one. The Ammon is the capital of Moab, and you can see the map right there. There's Ammon and there is Moab. That would be what today would be Jordan. That would be smite the borders, which means extend the borders. Going to take the so-called Palestine Mandate that the British promised to the Jews and reneged on their promises, I have showed in another video. And you know what, that one particular video that I did, that I put Transjordan, the map of Transjordan up there, they took that video down, YouTube did. And Haggai 2 verses 21 and 22. I will shake the heavens and the earth and overthrow the thrones of the kingdoms. Okay? But the problem was, he led the rebellion and founded a short-lived Jewish state. He was killed in the siege of Betar, which was the final battle of the Third Jewish-Roman War that devastated Judea. Then there was Moshe of Crete. Okay. So the Khuzestan Chronicle records an otherwise unknown Messianic claimant who arose alongside the Muslim conquest of Khuzestan. This Messiah led the Jews in destroying numerous Christian churches in Iraq and coastal Iran. The claimants played their roles in the Orient, were at the same time religious reformers whose work influenced Karaite Judaism. Abu Isa, he lived in the reign of Marwan II. It was in the Umayyad Caliphate. He claimed to be the last of the 5 forerunners of the Messiah, and that, as they claim, these Wikipedia claims, God had chosen him to free Israel. Having gathered a large number of followers who rebelled against the Caliph in Persia, he was defeated and killed at Ra'i. Okay, then you have Yijhan. Then you have Sereni. All right. Then it goes on and on. Moshe ben Abraham Dar. How many do you have to have before? Then you have David Alroy. And this only is with 1160 AD, declaring himself a Messiah. So after all of these men fooled the Jews, deceived many, something happened, folks. Either they didn't believe there was a Messiah at all, which are the Reform, and one other, I can't remember who it is, but the Orthodox Jews still believe a Moshiach is coming. But in their doctrine now, and this is very critically important for them to actually believe in a Messiah, a Moshiach. If he doesn't save all Israel and gather them from the four winds, if he doesn't set up the kingdom of David, if he doesn't defeat Israel's enemies, then he is not the Moshiach. Well, they're partly right. And that is the reason, folks, right here, in Romans 11, Paul says they are partly blinded, which means they're partly right and partly wrong. Okay? So, he says in Romans 11 verse 25, for I would not, brethren, he's speaking to the Romans, that you should be ignorant of this mystery. So he's telling them this so they won't be ignorant, but they chose to be ignorant still, unfortunately. Lest you Romans should be wise in your own conceits, that partial blindness happened to Israel until, it says, the filling up, it would be the hourglass of time fills up for the Gentiles. In other words, the time the Gentiles comes to the end. Now, why will there only be partial blindness? Because in their doctrine, they say that a man who declares himself to be a Moshiach, who does not, remember, Yehoshua declared himself the Moshiach, and he did not defeat the Romans. He did not gather all Israel. He died. Others claimed to be the Moshiach, did not regather all Israel, did not restore the kingdom of David in Jerusalem, and they died. So they say that all of them who did not do what the scripture said and died and failed, they are not the Moshiach. That is their belief. But that's only partly right, which means they're partly wrong, partially blinded. That's why he says partial blindness. Why am I saying that they're partially blind? We'll go to Isaiah 49. If they would have read the words of the prophets, and believed, they would not be partly blind. But remember, all 12 disciples forsook Yehoshua. Forsook him just like the rest of the Jews did. But he only came back to them. He didn't come back to the rest of Israel. Listen, you coastlands. Listen, you people far away. Jehovah has proclaimed, read my name from the womb. Luke 1. It does not say Jesus, it says Yehoshua. From the bowels of my mother he made mention of my name. Now we're going to go to Luke 1. Is there proof? Yes. And in the 6th month, go get your Hebrew calendar and find out what the 6th month of the Hebrew calendar is. Then count 9 months. And you will find that the real date of birth of the real Moshiach is in the same month that the Jewish holy day Shavuot is celebrated. Not anywhere near December the 25th. The messenger, Gabriel, was sent from Jehovah, not God, not God, unto a city of Galilee. named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David. The virgin's name was Miriam, and the messenger came in unto her and said, Rejoice, you are highly favored, Jehovah, not the Lord, is with you. Not shall be with you, is with you. At that time, the conception had occurred. Blessed are you among women, and when she saw him, she was greatly agitated at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of greeting this might be. And the messenger said unto her, Fear not, Miriam, for you have found favor with Jehovah, not God. And behold, you shall conceive in your womb, and bring forth a son, and you shall call his name not Jesus, but Yehoshua. Doesn't sound anything like Jesus. The name has to have the Abba's name in it. It has to have Jehovah's name in it, and it does. If it doesn't have Jehovah's name in the name of the Moshiach, then that name is a false name. Now we go back to Isaiah 49. You have mentioned me made mention of my name from the bowels of my mother. And he's speaking in past tense, but this is actually future tense, which is given to Jehovah himself to the prophet to announce. He made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand he has hidden me. So no, Jesus, neither Jesus nor Yehoshua was the creator, no matter what your preacher tries to tell you. Has he hid me? So he was hidden, not even the messengers knew him. And set me like a polished shaft in his quiver has he hid me. Just like my own son was hidden in my quiver until he was conceived in his mother's womb. I don't know, maybe some of you have difficulty understanding that concept. That makes no sense at all. And said unto me, and said, Servant Israel, in whom I will be glorified, or whom I will glorify. I said, I have labored in vain. The Moshiach said he labored in vain, and I spent my strength for nothing and in vain. While he was praying to Jehovah before his hanging. But surely judgment is with Jehovah, and my work with my Elohim. Now says Jehovah, that's the Abba, that formed me, that fashioned, that created, which means before this he was uncreated, he did not exist, he was but a mere seed in Jehovah's quiver, just like my own son was a seed in my quiver. The difference is Jehovah is Ruach, and I am flesh. He created him, he fashioned him, he created him in the womb. That's what it says. to be his servant. For what reason? To bring Jacob back again to him. Israel is removed, but he's going to be gathered. Achieving honor, be glorified in the eyes of Jehovah. And my Elohim shall be my strength. And what did Jehovah Elohim say? It is a light thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to cause them to return the preserved, and watch over Israel. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles, that you may be my salvation unto the ends of the earth. Well, the problem is that the Jews in those days did not want him to be a light to the Gentiles at all. And this is the reason why Paul told the Jews, he said himself, the other disciples did not turn to the Gentiles, but he himself turned to the Gentiles because they did not want him to turn to the Gentiles, or to give the good news to the Gentiles, that you may be my salvation to the ends of the earth. This says Jehovah, who is the Redeemer, the redeeming kinsman of Israel. About the Holy One, to whom man despises, and to whom the Gentiles, the Goy, abhors. Yehoshua will be from a servant to dominion. From a servant to dominion. Kings shall arise, and princes shall be forced to get on their knees, because Jehovah is faithful, the Holy One of Israel, and he will choose you. Now, this is where the Jews are partly blinded. If they would have read Isaiah 49, the whole of it, they would have understood, but not even the disciples believed until he rose from the dead and came back to them. See, and this reason, an acceptable time, a favorable time, will I hear you. In a day of salvation will I help you. I will preserve you and give you for a covenant of the people to establish the Arets. That's right, Arets, that's the land of Israel, and cause to inherit the desolate heritages. Okay? You shall say to the prisoners, yeah, that's right, these prisoners. You shall say to them, go forth, to them who are in darkness, show yourselves, you shall feed in the path, and their passage shall be in high places. They shall neither hunger nor thirst, and neither shall the heat smite them, for he will have mercy upon them and lead them by the springs of water, that he shall guide them. Now let's look in Jeremiah 31, verses 31 through 34. Because that generation did not believe, that generation was not given salvation. Because they did not read Isaiah 49 and believe it, they were not given salvation. But now we have today the Christians do not believe in salvation for Israel. They do not believe in the new covenant for Israel. Jeremiah 31 verses 31 through 34. Behold, the days come, says Jehovah, that I will make a new covenant with the church and with the church. Is that what it says? No, it does not say that. It says with the house of Israel, that would be the northern kingdom, and with the house of Yehuda, that is the southern kingdom. You cannot confuse this with the church. It's not possible. Not according to the covenant that I gave to their Ab, in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, when I was a husband unto them, says not the Lord, but Jehovah. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. In the after part, in the following part, in the after days, says Jehovah, I will put my Torah, that's what it says, in their inward parts, and will write them in their hearts. This is circumcision of the heart. And I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Jehovah. There will be no more people like me. Yelling over and over and over again, saying, his name is not God, his name is not Deus, his name is Jehovah. These false idols that you people claim, put in place of him, are fakes and frauds, and it's going to get you into the tribulation. That's why I'm telling you these things. For they all will know Jehovah, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, says Jehovah. For I will forgive their iniquity and remember their sin no more. So to the fellow who made the remark that Jehovah is somehow evil. So you don't want forgiveness of sin for Israel. Is that what you're saying? Well, if there's no forgiveness of sin for Israel, there's no forgiveness of sin for you either. You might want to read Romans 11. So these are the people thus says Jehovah, in an acceptable time I will hear you. In a day of salvation I will help you and will preserve you and give you for a covenant of the people. What covenant? We just read it. The new covenant for what people? For Israel. We just read it. To establish the Eretz, the land of Israel, to cause them to inherit the once desolate property. Well, guess what? As my cousin pointed out the other day, Mark Twain had remarked about how horrifically desolate the land of Israel was, and it no longer is today. And you, Christians, you can't see the handwriting on the wall. You cannot see that Israel's redemption is near. Incredible. All right. Now, where is it? So, you make accusations against the Jews. What about you? What about you Gentiles? Maybe it's time to look in the mirror. You see, Luke 18 and verse 31, it says, And he took the 12 and said unto them, Behold, we are going to Jerusalem, and all things which are written by the prophets, we just read it. And what was the other one? Oh, hold on. I'm not done yet. I'll go through this. Concerning the Son of Man shall be accomplished, for he shall be delivered unto the Gentiles. Delivered into the Gentiles. He's delivered into the Gentiles to be mocked and spitefully entreated and spat upon. And they, the Gentiles, shall scourge him and put him to death. Hated by the Gentiles, as we just read in Isaiah 49. Now, we'll go to Isaiah 52. And sometimes, not sentence structure, but textual structure in Hebrew does not match with Western civilization. So we'll start with this first. Verse 13, Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. What servant? Well, the one that was in Isaiah 49. If you want to go, this servant right here. This one. The one whose mouth is like a sharp sword and will be hidden in the shadow of his hand. The one that Jehovah created, procreated, literally, shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and shall be very high. But before that, many were astonished at him. His visage more marred than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. Why? So that he will sprinkle many Gentiles. The kings shall shut their mouths at him to recount what they see and what they have not heard or to hear, and they shall consider to discern. This is about the discernment of Isaiah 49. We just read it. I urge you to read them side by side. Now, for what reason? The deliverance of Jerusalem. Awake, awake, put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. From henceforth there will no more come in you the uncircumcised or the unclean. Shake yourself from the dust. Arise and sit down, Jerusalem. Loose yourself from the bands of your neck. That's break free from the chains of the Gentiles, which means all of those cathedrals, churches are going to be thrown out of Jerusalem. O captive daughter of Zion. Jehovah said, you sold yourself out of favor, but you will be redeemed. Okay? With or without money, who knows? He's going to be redeemed. Jerusalem is going to be redeemed. Says Adonai, Jehovah, my people, went to Egypt to sojourn there, and then the Assyrian oppressed them without a cause. Now therefore, listen to what I say, says Jehovah. Is my people going to be taken away for nothing? They that rule over them made them to How? Says Jehovah. And my people, or my name continually every day is blasphemed, treated with contempt, just like this fellow in this YouTube comment treated his name with contempt, just like the Catholics treated his name with contempt, just like the father of Protestantism, Martin Luther, in his heinous and blasphemous book, Von Shem HaMeforish, blasphemed the name over and over again. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Oh, you're going to learn it? The Jews are going to learn it, but not only are the Jews going to learn his name again, but you Gentiles are going to learn his name if it's the last thing that happens to you. I would urge you to learn it the easy way. Accept correction. Take it like a man. Stop being a fool. Know his name. In that day, on the day I speak, how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bring forth good tidings, that publish peace, that brings forth good tidings that publish salvation, that says, Zion, your Elohim lives. Well, folks, it's going to happen, whether you like it or not. Because of this servant right here. Now, what do the Christians believe? Man, they're so all over the place, there's no way that I can go through all of this. They're all over the place. They don't even know what they believe about salvation. So, if I think about it, I'll leave you the link, or you can just go to Wikipedia and Salvation and Christianity and look it up yourself. Okay? I don't have time to do all that.